Do you know you don't always need a certificate that shows that you have graduated before you can apply for any school abroad? You don't always need it. So watch this video and let me show you the documents that you need before you can apply for schools abroad, okay? I would categorize these documents into two: the optional ones and the compulsory ones. I would like for us to start off with the compulsory ones. First of all, you need a CV. And with a CV, precisely, you need an academic CV. In my own understanding, I believe a CV is like a template for your personal profile. This is what you have done in the past. So for the academic CV, it should speak about your education. Personally, I completed KNUST in the year 2017. So if you take my CV, the education aspect starts with 2013 to 2017 KNUST, and it talks about the program I offered, the class I completed with, and because it's an academic CV, I've added unpublished dissertation. Then at this point, I want to truly appreciate you for taking time to watch this video. If these are content that you like, because on this channel I talk about scholarships, admission process, some schools and all of that. So if these are content that you think you find useful, please subscribe. Or if you think your friends will like it, tell a friend to tell a friend to also come and subscribe. Thank you. The thesis I worked on and the title, just to show that I have conducted an independent study before. Remember, we are applying for a master's degree or a PhD, and most of these programs are research degrees. So sometimes just putting this shows that at least you have a foundation in conducting research. I'll go into further details about how your CV should look like, but please don't add your high school and all of that unless you're applying for an undergrad program. Then maybe your work experience and your research experience, something basic that you've done. If you've collected data before, just put it there. If you've administered questionnaire in the past, just put it there. So things like that. Because the space is often limited, I don't think you should even add your referees to the CV page, because they'll definitely ask for the referees in another part of the application form. The next compulsory document you should have is your unofficial transcript. I put there unofficial because before you can apply for every program, they demand that you should have a transcript. So I'm thinking about this transcript like a report card when we're in high school or when we're in basic school. So the transcripts, and if you are in school right now, you know that at the end of every semester, you get your transcript and it shows how you are faring. If it's average or GPA system, it shows where you are. So all the courses that you've taken, the credit hours and all of that. It is compulsory for you to get an unofficial transcript before you can study abroad, because the school would like to see how you fare, if you meet their grade requirements, and basically how you fare academically. So that is why you need your unofficial transcript. The third thing you would need as a compulsory document is the statement of purpose. Some schools call it motivational letter, others call it statement of intent. Or hold the statement of purpose, which we can call SOP going forward in this conversation. The SOP details why you are studying, why you want to study the program, why you want to study in the school, what you have done in the past relating to the program, and maybe if you have some personal circumstances that might have led you to become very much interested in the area that you have chosen. You detail all of those things in a document, oftentimes between a word or two, according to what the school themselves would like. The next compulsory document I would like to talk about is a recommendation letter. You should have people, it could be professors, it could be your lecturers in school, it could be people that you work with, but every school mostly require that you submit a recommendation letter. Letters must speak about your academic abilities, your work ethics, how the people trust that you are able to undertake the degree that you intend undertaking. The fourth thing I would like to talk about under the compulsory section once again is something regarding your demographics. So on demographics, of course, you should have your name. You should have an address where you live. You should know it so that you can fill it out when you are applying for the program. You should have an email address, very important. And this email address should be something that you use every time, not one that you've forgotten the password. Oftentimes, most of your communication will be through emails. So please make sure that the email address you'll be providing, honestly, really, genuinely, you have access to it. It's not something that you close it and then you check it out once in 6 months or so. So you should have these basic demographics about yourself. The last thing I would like to talk about before we move to the compulsory part is that you should be proficient in English. We will get to the IELTS bit. I just said you should be proficient in English. So it could be a document from your school or anything to show that truly I studied in English. This is for people who want to study in English speaking countries like Canada, Australia, USA, UK, New Zealand, all the English speaking countries. Unless, of course, you don't want to study in English, then you can forget about this point. But really, you should be able to show that you are proficient in English. It could be an English proficiency, or just maybe by virtue of your country of origin, you take and the school would waive it for you. So something just to show that I'm from this country, or I have this document that shows that really I am proficient in English. So these are the compulsory ones: a CV, an SOP, recommendation letters, unofficial transcript, demographics, precisely your email address, and finally you should have a document or something that shows that you are proficient in English. This is with the compulsory bits. So let's move to the optional ones. Okay, so I grouped them into compulsory and optional because with the compulsory ones, all the schools will require. If you know about anything else, I'm open to learning, so you can comment in the comment section. Probably you apply for a school without these documents I have just mentioned and you still go through. I'll be very happy to learn about it. But per what I know, these documents are compulsory, and I'm describing these ones I'm about to discuss as optional because really without them you can still apply, but if you have them also, it's like an extra, nice stuff. The first one is application fees. Application fees are not compulsory, though I highly recommend that you apply for programs that charge application fees, but some schools do not take application fees at all. And occasionally although some schools take application fees, they might waive it per the season or per anything, per things just come up and they might just want to waive off the application fees. So application fees are optional. It's not like you really have to get the money before you can apply for a school abroad, because some schools don't demand that you pay any application fee. The next optional document I would like to talk about are test scores. Test scores such as the GRE, GMAT. GRE is the Graduate Record Examinations. These exams are often required by some programs, especially in the USA and Canada, to show your preparedness, especially if they give you a grade you're supposed to get and you make it. I think it's optional because not all schools require that you get a GRE. Really, not all schools require it. It's not compulsory. Some schools waive it. If you have it, fine. And if you have it, it actually broadens your scope because you're not limited, or you're not only searching for schools that don't require it. I hope it's clear. If you have it, bless you. But if you don't have it, it's cool. We move. I didn't have any test score before I studied in America for the first time. Apart from the test scores, still on showing proficiency in English. This is in the optional section. Some people take IELTS. If you take the IELTS, some countries like Australia, the guy just told us, if you've not seen that live video, please go and watch it, especially for my friends who would like to study in Australia. Some countries like Australia require that you get the IELTS. Some countries like UK require that you get the IELTS, and other countries. So if you don't have the IELTS, please don't stress. It's an optional requirement. But if you have it, like I always say, it expands your choices. You don't get limited, you see. So that is with the third optional requirement. When people write the IELTS and make particular bands or particular scores, and they're able to show that, oh, of course, I know English, I speak English, I understand English, I comprehend English, The next document I would like to discuss under the optional section is the evaluated transcript. Okay, so some schools or some programs require that you should have your transcript evaluated. This is because we are coming from different countries. So the school sometimes wants to put your transcript according to the country's grading system. They are diverse, they are different. So you bring the transcript and they request that evaluate it per this particular criteria, and it's often international standards. For people who like to evaluate their transcripts, I know about WES, WES. You can Google it, and then they are an evaluating body. And also this pattern, you can also Google them as well. They can help you evaluate your transcript in the event that your school has required that you do so. It's very optional. I have never evaluated any of my transcript before. It's pricey, but then if you want to do it, fair enough. I think it also helps you because you are now more open to different programs. When a school says, I'm requesting for an evaluated transcript, it doesn't become a problem for you. And not all schools require that you should get an official transcript before they can give you admission. I didn't send my official transcript to Easton until I went to the USA and I submitted my official transcript. For my friends who do not know what an official transcript is, the official transcript should come from the main registrar. I know you have the copy of what you took from the registrar, but this one should come from your school to the school immediately. When I was applying for Easton, I had a copy of what I ordered from the KNUST registrar, stamped credible, correct. and I had a soft copy of that, so that was what I used in all of my applications. But when I formally got admitted into Eastern and I went to Eastern, to show that what I sent was genuine, it wasn't any falsified document, I had to let the Care University registrar send an official one to EIU. This one is actually addressed to the school that is requesting for it, and it is stamped, it is, you know, that it is very official, not a soft copy. That's a hard copy of the transcript. That makes it official. So like I said, it is really optional. You don't have to go through all that stress if you don't want to go through it. So relax. If you have the compulsory documents, you should be fine. The other documents that I think is optional is also acquiring a passport before applying. Applying for a program, when you're applying for a program, not all schools will require that put in your passport number. Honestly, not all schools will. If you have it, fair enough. The passport issue comes in after you have got admission and you are processing your visa documentation. That is when often some schools would ask. So if you don't have a passport, please don't kill yourself. It's really optional when you get to that bridge after you have applied. But now that you know you want to study abroad, please start applying for your passport from your home country if you don't own one. But honestly speaking, if you don't own one, it will not affect your chances of being admitted or given any offer. What will happen is that after you get admission, then you can look into that, like, because you are an international student. I hope you understand this bit about the passports. The last optional document I want to talk about is the certificate. You don't always have to have a certificate before you can apply for a school abroad. Yes, the reason being that whenever you are applying for the program, oftentimes you are allowed to apply even if you are in your final year. So if you're in your final year and you are watching me, if let's say you're final year in the university and you're watching me and you want to pursue a master's or even a PhD abroad, you qualify to do so without you graduating first, without you completing your national service first. So what you do is that you apply with your transcript and you add the date of your completion. So for example, let's say if you graduate in November 2023, but you are applying this particular August, you know, for the 2024 cycle, but you are still in school, you have not yet graduated from the 4-year program, you are allowed to apply so that by the time that you are about to start the master's degree, you would have got the certificate then to prove. Honestly, apart from the transcript, I hardly see schools request that you should even upload your certificates. Personally, when I was applying for my PhD, I applied for my PhD in January 2021 and I graduated from Eastern in May. At the time, I didn't have any certificate that showed that really I had completed Eastern, because I had not yet completed Eastern. I had 1 semester more to go, but I still applied because I used my transcript in the hope that I will graduate in May, and my transcript was enough. Like I said, these are all the documents that I think you need before you can study abroad. In case I left anything out, please remind me in the comment section. I'll be happy to learn about it and for all of us to also learn. Or if you have been asked about any document that you are not so sure about, please comment in the comment section. So I'll make time to show you how to use these documents to apply for a program later in my videos. Thanks so much for making time to watch this video. Bye.